My name's Stephen. I run a small healthcare business in Neveridge called Bannerdale Osteopaths. So we work with mostly people in pain. So typical complaints that we see are back pain, sciatica, neck, shoulder, knee, hip, sports-related injuries, anything in that sort of line, really. We typically don't have a very long waiting list. That's one of the beauties of being in the private healthcare sector, is we can control how long the waiting list is by how many staff we have. So typically from initial inquiry to someone coming through the door, it's less than a couple of days. Then again, being in the private sector, between ourselves and our patients, we can decide on how many sessions they need, and it'll all be down to their needs, really. So on average, I think it's somewhere between 3 and 4 sessions is the average number, but it could range from just one with someone with quite a simple thing, right the way up to any number, really, depending on their needs. A big part of how we manage people is education, so it's really important that people understand what the problem is, what they've done to sort of develop it, and what they can do to sort of hopefully prevent it, and that's sort of part of how we sort of approach our sort of service, really. So education, then maybe using some hands-on stuff to help release the area, sort of take the pain levels down, in combination with exercise, because exercise and building strength often is the best way to keep injuries at bay, because it's all very well getting someone out of pain, but if we can't keep them out of pain, then we're just a very expensive painkiller, really. Why I became self-employed? Well, I kind of didn't really have an option, really, because osteopathy is I suppose fairly unique in that nearly everyone is self-employed. So when you graduate, you typically go and work in someone else's clinic, which is what I did, but there's very few positions out there that are employed. They're nearly all for associates, which means that you're self-employed. You go in on a pre-arranged split of how the money's sort of split, which might be 50-50 or something around those sorts of figures. And that's how you work. So you typically would work in a few different clinics, and you'd build yourself up, and most people aspire to have their own clinic where they have people on the same sort of basis in theirs. Now that's how I kind of started off. I was working in other people's clinics. I then had a friend who was relocating, and she was running a clinic with her brother, so I came in and became a partner there, and we ran it together, but both sort of working there, seeing our own patients and just sort of sharing the costs of the business more than anything. I think I did it just because that's what you did, really. When my business partner decided to relocate, initially I thought about getting another business partner, and then I kind of thought, no, it's probably time for me to take it on and get an associate in who was self-employed at the time, and go that way. Now, it's all very well, but it's not, to my mind, it's not a proper business. A proper business for me is where, as a business owner, you can step away from it and it can carry on. Now, the setup that we've still got to some degree, but it's far less than it was, involves me being in the clinic quite a lot, and then having other associates that come in. We now take an employed model, so we take people on and employ them. But still, without me, it falls down a bit. And I think one big thing, and this is not just sort of specific to my industry, is to think, are you actually self-employed and running your own business, or have you just got a boss who's a bit of a, arse, really, who makes you work stupidly long hours, doesn't let you take any holidays, some weeks you lose money, you don't even earn money, and that boss is yourself, really, because that's how I had it for years, that I would be working all the hours under the sun. Everyone else was making sure they were getting paid, and you've got this pipe dream that you're going to build it up and suddenly the money will start rolling in, and it doesn't always happen, really. So I think you've got to be sort of clear on why you want to be self-employed, why you want to have your own business, and I think that's sort of really important, really. I think when we come to sort of qualities that you need, I think you need to be persistent, because, as I say, when the going's tough, if you're the sort of person that will kick it into touch and go somewhere else, then you're not going to succeed. I think even the most successful people in life will have had their knockdowns, and I think a mark of success for a lot of people is, and this goes across sport as well as businesses, keep getting yourself back up. You get knocked down, you get yourself up, you sort of learn what you can from being knocked down, because you learn more from your failures than your successes. and then you try again, and you keep refining how you approach business, how you approach life, how you approach whatever it is, sport, relationships, until you crack it really. But cracking it doesn't mean then you sit back and sort of count your money or sort of count all your success coming in. You've got to keep going really. So I think one of the biggest attributes I've got is I'm sort of stubborn. So if I believe in something, I'll keep doing it, and I don't really care what other people say. I've tried to get better at being able to listen to people, because as the boss, it's ultimately what you say goes. But if you don't listen to other people and make your opinion from listening to other people, then you're just a dictator really, and I don't think that's what most people want either, if they sort of think about how they want to be perceived. Or I don't think most employees want a boss who's a dictator, who sort of doesn't have any room for sort of listening to people's sort of problems really. So I would say the biggest attributes that I have would be being persistent, being prepared to graft hard. I'll happily keep my head down, keep working for year on year, and sort of glance up every now and then to check I'm going in the right direction. But I don't really need anyone to pat me on the back, because that often doesn't happen when you're running your own business really. I suppose I've already sort of covered this a little bit into what are the benefits, drawbacks of working for yourself. So the benefits are that you choose the rules really. You get to decide exactly how you want it to be. Now, if you choose that you want to have 2 hours of work a week and live in a sort of swanky apartment and have your private jet and stuff like that, then great rules. But yeah, you're gonna have to have quite a lot of money and quite a lot of knowledge and sort of savviness behind you to pull that off, because that's not going to come easy. And generally in life, the things that the people who have the most success are the people that work the hardest, from what I can tell really. So the benefits are you pick the rules, so you can make up your job role, you can make up how you want your business to do. The drawbacks are there's only you responsible for that. So if it doesn't work, that's you really. There's no room for playing a victim when it comes to business. Like, business is brutal really. You try and do your best, but if someone comes along and they're bigger than you, they'll happily crush you. Look at Starbucks, what they happily do to other coffee shops, things like that. Amazon, they don't lose sleep over putting out retailers on the high street. They look after their own people, they look after their shareholders, and they grow. So I think the benefits are you pick the rules, but the drawbacks are if it doesn't work, it's all down to you. And if you've got people working for you, then that's where you lose sleep, because if it fails, then everyone loses their job really. But saying that, I have absolutely no regrets about having my own business. I love it. I like having a team of people that I've put together. I get far more satisfaction from seeing a positive review on Google or something like that for one of the team than I do for myself, because I know that I put that team together. And I'm moving further and further away from being an osteopath, which is what I've trained to do, and more into the realms of being a business owner. And I think you're probably already a step ahead of me if you've got any sort of training in business. I didn't do any. I've learnt it all from postgraduate, going to business conventions. I have a business coach now that I pay quite a lot of money to sort of help me not make stupid decisions that are going to cost me a lot of money, and to sort of help me sort of I suppose put into practice what I can visualise. So if you're already learning whilst you're at school about how to sort of run a business, then step ahead and crack on. But I'd say that the benefits, that most of them come with hard work. So if you're prepared to work hard, to keep picking yourself back up when you get knocked down, and to listen to other people and be able to reflect well on what you do, then you've probably got the attributes, from my perspective anyway, to be a successful business owner. So enjoy it. And I think I just want to say with Corona, there's lots of bad stuff, but there's never been more opportunities out there. I mean, look how quickly businesses are adapting to remote working and stuff like that. In my sector, telehealth, we've got a telehealth service now where we help people without even being in the room through this is my virtual clinic. That just didn't exist in January. So try and focus on the opportunities, because there's loads, and you're probably at a perfect time in in our world, who's to say this will ever happen again, where there's lots of opportunities and you've got technology on your side because you're young and I can't even work out how to log into Instagram. So I'm sort of, it's passing me by a bit and I have to work a lot harder to catch up. So enjoy the opportunities that are there and work hard and you'll be successful.